What could possibly keep a global icon like T.O.P silent for 10 long years? After a full decade of complete silence, the enigmatic Big Bang member has finally opened up, and his words are as raw as they are unexpected. In an emotional and deeply personal interview, T.O.P speaks candidly about the pain he endured, the battles he faced behind the spotlight, and the long-awaited question, will there be a Big Bang reunion? This is more than just an interview, it's a revelation. Let's dive into the untold story. Right here on Red Carpet Revealed. What could possibly keep a voice like T.O.P's silent for an entire decade? For years, the world waited, breath held, fingers crossed, for any word, any glimpse, any sound from the man once crowned as one of K-pop's most enigmatic and magnetic figures. And now, 10 years later, the silence has shattered. In an exclusive interview that has already sent shockwaves across social media, T.O.P, real name Choi Sung-yeon, finally speaks. What was meant to be a calm, retrospective conversation about music and healing turned into a raw, emotional confession unlike anything fans or critics ever expected. The curtain rises, an unexpected setting. The interview took place not in a glitzy studio or grand hall, but in a quiet, sun-drenched room in Montreux, Switzerland, a location handpicked by T.O.P himself. Surrounded by canvases and half-finished sculptures, he sat across from the interviewer with calm eyes, but fingers that trembled ever so slightly. I didn't want this to be a performance, he began, voice steady but distant. I wanted this to be real. I've lived behind walls for so long. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was survival. T.O.P's decision to disappear from the public eye wasn't sudden. I didn't wake up one day and decide to vanish, he revealed. It was more like I disappeared little by little, first emotionally, then physically, and no one really noticed until I was completely gone. He spoke candidly about his mental health struggles, the pressure of fame, and the unbearable loneliness that haunted him even during BIGBANG's peak. I was drowning in applause. Do you know what that feels like? When everyone's clapping but you feel like you're dying inside? At this point in the interview, T.O.P paused, biting his lip as his eyes welled with tears. For a moment, the room was silent, not the heavy, isolating silence of the past 10 years, but a sacred, shared stillness. The Big Bang question, will they return? Naturally, the most burning question couldn't be avoided. Is a Big Bang reunion on the horizon? T.O.P's answer wasn't simple. I think we all miss it. The energy, the brotherhood, the magic we created together. But also, we're not the same boys we were. We carry scars now, some visible, some hidden. He confirmed that he has been in private contact with members G-Dragon and Taeyong. We've talked, sometimes about music, sometimes just about life. There's no official plan yet. But for the first time in years, I'm not against the idea. His voice cracked slightly, but a rare, almost childlike smile appeared on his face. If we do return, it won't be for the charts. It'll be for the healing. For the fans who never stopped waiting. The room with no mirrors. In one of the most haunting parts of the interview, T.O.P revealed that for 5 years, he lived in a house with all the mirrors removed. I couldn't face myself, he confessed. There were days I didn't recognize who I had become. So I chose not to look. He replaced his reflection with creation, painting, sculpting, composing. Art saved me when music became too loud. He later showed the camera one of his recent works, a fractured glass sculpture held together by thin, golden seams. It's based on kintsugi, he said, the Japanese art of mending broken things with gold. That's how I see myself now, not flawless, but held together by my story. A final letter to the fans. As the interview drew to a close, T.O.P asked for a moment alone with the camera. The crew stepped back, and for a few minutes, he sat in silence, looking directly into the lens. I thought you forgot me, he whispered, but I never forgot you. He then reached into his pocket and pulled out a faded letter, one he wrote to his fans during his lowest point but never sent. I didn't have the strength then, but I do now. The letter read, in part, to those who waited in the dark with me, I see you. To those who prayed, who cried, who shouted my name into the void, thank you. You brought me back. What's next for T.O.P? When asked about his future, T.O.P didn't offer specifics. I'm not making a grand comeback. I'm simply choosing to exist in the open again. If music comes, it will come from truth, not obligation. There are whispers of a solo art exhibit in Paris, and even a possible documentary. But for now, he's simply enjoying breathing without the weight of expectation. As fans still process the shock of T.O.P's emotional return after 10 years of near-total disappearance, a new chapter has unfolded, one that involves the silent, powerful bond between the members of Big Bang. In an exclusive follow-up to his tell-all interview, T.O.P has shared fragments of private conversations and heartfelt messages exchanged between himself and his former bandmates during the years when the world thought they had grown apart. I was never truly alone, T.O.P speaks about the quiet support. I might have disappeared from the cameras, from the headlines, from stages, but I wasn't completely alone. T.O.P said, his voice soft but steady. He then opened his phone, a worn-out, paint-splattered device clearly used more for writing than scrolling, and pulled up a message thread titled simply, BB Family. His hand shook as he scrolled. I want to show people something they never saw, not to stir drama, but to show what real friendship looks like, when no one else is watching. G-Dragon's late-night texts. Come home when you're ready. One of the most heart-wrenching moments came when T.O.P shared a message from G-Dragon, sent on a winter night in 2018. It read, Hung, I know you're hurting. I feel it even from miles away. Just, come home when you're ready. We'll keep the lights on. T.O.P admitted he never replied. I couldn't. I read it probably 100 times. I cried every time. But it didn't stop there. G-Dragon continued to reach out every birthday, every Big Bang anniversary, and even on the day of his own solo comeback. Today's a big day for me. But I keep thinking about you. Music isn't the same without your voice echoing next to mine. Taeyong, don't forget you're loved. If G-Dragon's messages were poetic and raw, Taeyong's were like quiet prayers. He didn't write often, but when he did, they landed deep in T.O.P's heart. You don't need to explain yourself to the world. Just survive. That's enough for now. In one rare voice memo sent during the third year of silence, Taeyong's voice was barely above a whisper. I played our loser stage today, just to remember that fire. I hope you're healing, bro. I hope you're painting again. T.O.P described the moment he received that voice message as a turning point. That night, I picked up my pen again. I hadn't drawn anything in months. The reunion that nearly happened, in late 2023, the Big Bang group chat suddenly came back to life. It started with a meme. T.O.P laughed. Daesung sent a picture of us from 2009 with bad haircuts and wrote, should we bring this look back for our reunion tour? What followed, according to T.O.P, was a 4-hour-long emotional exchange between all 4 members. No cameras, no managers, just raw words. G-Dragon chimed in. What if we came back? Not as idols, but as storytellers? Taeyong added. No choreography, just us, our voices, and our truth. T.O.P's response was short, but it was the first time in 10 years he had typed those words. Let's talk in person. What's next? A private meeting in Jeju. Earlier this year, all 4 members quietly met on Jeju Island, away from the paparazzi and the industry's noise. According to sources close to the group, it was a weekend of reflection, reconnection, and even recording. They didn't talk about money. They didn't talk about fame, said a staffer who helped organize the trip. They just talked about music, healing, and what it means to be Big Bang in 2025.